They wait for permission from the outside world before they move forward. They wait for evidence, for signs, for applause, for confirmation. But the true confirmation never comes from the outside first. It always follows. It always echoes what has already been decided within. You did not imagine victory to tease yourself. You did not feel abundance, freedom, love, or success by accident. That inner experience was not a wish, it was a preview. And once seen, it cannot be unseen. Once accepted, it cannot be reversed. But here is the warning: do not look back. Looking back is not memory, it is a choice. It is choosing to identify with an old version of yourself that no longer exists. The past has no creative power unless you give it life again through attention. When you look back, you are not being cautious. You are being disloyal to the new self you've already claimed. You didn't win the lottery so you could stand still. You didn't receive the inner confirmation so you could keep checking the old scoreboard. You won so you could move. The moment you assume something to be true, life reorganizes itself to match that assumption. Not instantly in appearance, but inevitably in fact. The delay is not denial, it is rearrangement. And rearrangement requires that you stay consistent, calm, and forward moving. Keep going. Keep going even when the outer world looks unchanged. Keep going even when old thoughts try to revisit you. Keep going even when doubt whispers, "What if this doesn't work?" Doubt is only the echo of a former identity trying to survive. It has no power unless you stop and listen. The one who has won does not argue with shadows. The one who has received does not panic at silence. The one who knows does not rush. They move steadily. You are not becoming successful. You are not becoming chosen. You are not becoming abundant. You are expressing what has already been decided. Every step forward confirms it. Every calm breath confirms it. Every refusal to look back confirms it. Do you know why persistence works? Because persistence is not effort, it is identity. You persist in what you believe you are. You do not force yourself to breathe. You do not remind yourself who you are when you wake up. In the same way, once you accept the win internally, continuing forward becomes natural. And yes, there will be moments where nothing seems to move. That is not failure, that is incubation. Seeds do not make noise underground, but they are very busy becoming. Do not dig up what you planted just to check if it's growing. You won the lottery when you stopped asking, "Can this happen?" and started assuming this is done. From that moment on, your only responsibility became alignment. Thinking from it, feeling from it, living from it, and alignment has one clear direction: forward. The past cannot guide you anymore. It was built by a version of you that no longer thinks, feels, or decides the same way. To consult it now would be like asking an old map to guide you through a new city. Let it go. The future does not need your worry. The present needs your certainty. Walk as someone who has already received. Speak as someone who knows the outcome. Choose as someone who trusts the process. Not because you are pretending, but because you remember. You remember the moment it clicked. You remember the calm certainty. You remember the inner yes that required no explanation. That was the win. So now, please, keep going. Do not slow down to explain yourself. Do not pause to convince others. Do not turn around to see who is watching. What is yours is already moving toward you, matching your pace, responding to your state. Stay in it. Stay faithful to the assumption. Stay loyal to the version of you who already crossed the line. You won the lottery. There is nothing behind you worth returning to. Only one direction remains: forward. The decision is already made, and that is the most powerful truth you can rest in. The moment you accepted the inner victory, something shifted that can never be undone. Long before the world rearranges itself, long before circumstances catch up, The outcome is sealed in the invisible realm where all creation begins. This is not hope, and it is not optimism. It is finality. A decision made at the level of identity does not negotiate with appearances. Most people believe decisions are confirmed by results. In reality, results are confirmed by decisions. The moment you internally said this is done, you stepped out of uncertainty and into authorship. You stopped waiting to be chosen and realized you were the one choosing. That inner acceptance was not emotional excitement, it was a quiet certainty, a deep knowing that did not require proof. And once that knowing is claimed, life has no option but to reflect it back in form. The world you see is always delayed. It is a mirror, not a judge. When you understand this, impatience dissolves. You no longer scan your environment asking, is it working? Because the question itself belongs to a state that has not yet decided. A decided mind does not ask if something will happen. It moves as though it already has. That movement is not forced. It is natural, relaxed, and steady because it comes from certainty, not desire. Inner victory is not something you earn through effort. It is something you allow by agreement. The moment you agreed with a higher version of yourself, you closed the door to all alternatives. That agreement changed the direction of your life, even if nothing outside changed immediately. Just as a ship changes course long before it reaches a new shore, your decision redirected everything that follows. Time is simply the distance between decision and arrival. There may still be moments when old thoughts appear, reminding you of who you used to be, what you feared, or what once failed. These thoughts are not signs of reversal, they are echoes. Echoes have no power unless you answer them. You do not need to fight them or suppress them. Simply recognize that they belong to a version of you that no longer makes the decisions. You have already chosen, and choice is authority. When you truly grasp that the decision is final, pressure disappears. You stop trying to make things happen. You stop overthinking actions. You stop forcing belief. Instead, you live from a settled place where actions arise naturally and timing unfolds without strain. Confidence becomes quiet. Faith becomes normal. Persistence becomes effortless because you are no longer chasing an outcome, you are allowing it to arrive. Nothing can undo a decision made at the core of your being unless you consciously revoke it. And if you do not, life must comply. The outer world may take its time, but it cannot change its destination. The seal has been placed, the script has been written. You are no longer deciding whether you will win. You are simply living out what has already been decided. Do not consult the past, because the past is not a record of truth. It is a record of former states of mind. When you look back, you are not gaining wisdom, you are re-entering an identity that no longer has authority over you. The past only appears powerful because it once felt real. But it felt real only because you once agreed with it. That agreement has been withdrawn, and without agreement, the past is powerless. Every experience you remember was produced by who you were being at that time. Your assumptions, expectations, and inner conversations. When you revisit those memories with emotional weight, you temporarily revive the state that created them. This is why looking back often brings doubt, hesitation, and fear. You are not seeing reality. You are reactivating an old version of yourself and asking it for guidance. But that version does not know where you are going. It only knows where you have been. The past cannot advise the future because the future is not built from history. It is built from consciousness. The moment you change your inner position, you stepped into a new line of life. What lies ahead is not an extension of what lies behind. It is a reflection of who you are now. To consult the past is to deny the transformation that has already taken place within you. Many people believe they are being careful when they revisit past failures. They call it learning. In truth, they are often reinforcing limitation. They replay old stories to protect themselves, not realizing that protection from an old state is unnecessary when that state is no longer active. You do not need to defend yourself against a version of life that cannot return unless you invite it back through attention. Looking back creates a split. One part of you moves forward while another remains anchored in memory. This divided focus slows momentum and creates inattention. Forward movement requires loyalty, loyalty to the new self you have accepted. When you look back for reassurance, you are quietly questioning your decision. And every question weakens the assumption that would otherwise express itself effortlessly. The past will try to speak to you in familiar voices. Be realistic. Remember what happened last time. Don't get your hopes up. These are not warnings, they are habits of thought. They belong to survival, not creation. They exist to keep identity consistent, not to allow expansion. But you are no longer bound to consistency with the old self. You are bound only to the state you now occupy. True freedom begins when you stop explaining yourself to memory. You do not need to justify your new direction with evidence from the past. The past cannot validate what it never experienced. Your present assumption is the only authority that matters. Stay there. When you refuse to look back, you are not denying your history, you are placing it in its proper position, behind you. You are acknowledging that it served its purpose and is now complete. The new state you have entered does not argue with the old one, it simply outgrows it. Do not consult the past for confirmation, permission, or warning. It has already given you all it can give. Its role is finished. What you are becoming requires your full attention forward. The moment you stop looking back, the old state dissolves completely, and only the new one remains active, dominant, and in control. To live from the end is to reverse the way most people experience life. Instead of waiting for circumstances to change before you change within and allow circumstances to follow. It is not pretending, and it is not wishful thinking. It is assuming the feeling of completion so fully that it becomes natural, familiar, and unquestioned. When something is truly yours, you do not strain for it. You rest in it. That inner rest is the state of having already received. Acting from the end does not mean forcing behaviors or mimicking success. It means allowing your decisions, reactions, and self-talk to arise from the identity of the one who has already won. The one who has received does not rush, panic, or constantly seek reassurance. Their actions are calm, deliberate, and confident because they are no longer driven by lack. Lack asks, fulfillment expects. Thinking from the end is subtle but powerful. It changes the questions you ask yourself. Instead of how will this work, your mind naturally asks, what is the next natural step? Instead of, what if I fail? You think, how do I steward what I now have? These thoughts do not feel dramatic, they feel ordinary. And that ordinariness is the sign you have moved into the end state. What once felt like a dream now feels like normal life. Feeling from the end is not emotional excitement. It is not constant happiness or enthusiasm. It is a quiet satisfaction, a deep sense of relief, and an underlying confidence that does not need expression. You feel settled, you feel grounded, you feel less reactive to the world because your sense of security no longer depends on what you see. This emotional neutrality is often misunderstood, but it is the clearest indicator that the assumption has taken root. Living from the end also changes how you respond to delays and contradictions. When something has already been received internally, temporary appearances lose their power to disturb you. You do not deny what you see, but you do not bow to it either. You understand that the outer world is catching up, adjusting itself to match the inner decision. This understanding removes struggle. You stop trying to fix the mirror and focus instead on maintaining the same state that produced the reflection. There will be moments when old habits of thought attempt to pull you back into waiting or hoping. When this happens, you gently return to the end. You remind yourself not with force, but with familiarity. This is already mine. Repetition is not to convince yourself. It is to remain loyal to the state you have chosen. The state you occupy most consistently is the one that expresses itself. Living from the end requires trust, but not blind trust. It is trust rooted in understanding. You know that consciousness leads and form follows. You know that assumption hardens into fact. So you align your inner life accordingly. You speak differently to yourself. You interpret events differently. You move through life with an unspoken certainty. When you live from the end, life stops feeling like a chase. It becomes a fulfillment. You are no longer reaching forward. You are allowing what is already done to unfold. And in that allowance, the unseen becomes seen. The internal becomes external, and the end you lived from becomes the life you live in. Movement is the silent language of belief. What you truly believe, you move with. What you doubt, you hesitate around. Continuing forward, even without visible confirmation, is the clearest proof that you trust what is unfolding. Words can lie, affirmations can be repeated mechanically, but movement never lies. Your direction reveals your conviction. When belief is real, it does not wait for guarantees. It does not pause until every detail is clear. It moves from an inner knowing that says, "This is already in motion." That movement may be subtle. It may look like small decisions, quiet discipline, or steady consistency rather than dramatic leaps. But each step forward signals alignment with an assumed outcome. You are not pushing life, you are cooperating with it. Most people stall because they believe movement requires certainty. In truth, certainty is created by movement. Waiting to feel confident before acting keeps belief theoretical. Action taken from assumption makes belief experiential. Each step forward reinforces the inner decision and weakens old patterns of doubt. Momentum is not something you wait for. It is something you generate by choosing direction. Continuing forward does not mean forcing progress or ignoring intuition. It means refusing to retreat into old mental habits when the outer world appears slow to respond. When you stop moving, you begin to question. When you question, you reopen doors that were already closed. Forward movement keeps your attention anchored in the chosen state, rather than scattered across fears and alternatives. There will be moments when moving forward feels ordinary, even unimpressive. This is where belief matures. True trust does not need intensity, it needs consistency. Dramatic faith often fades quickly, but quiet persistence reshapes reality. When you keep going without emotional highs or lows, you demonstrate that your belief is stable, not reactive. Movement also trains your identity. Each action taken in alignment with the fulfilled state tells your subconscious, "This is who I am now." Identity is built through repetition. The more you act from the assumption of success, stability, or fulfillment, the more natural that assumption becomes. Over time, doubt loses its grip, not because you fought it, but because you outgrew it through consistent alignment. Trusting what is unfolding means accepting that timing is not your enemy. Delays are not interruptions, they are part of the process. Movement during delay is especially powerful because it shows you are not dependent on immediate results for validation. You are committed to the direction, not the pace. This commitment stabilizes the inner state and allows the outer world to reorganize without resistance. Stopping to check progress often slows it. Constant evaluation keeps you mentally rooted in lack. Forward movement, on the other hand, keeps you anchored in expectation. Expectation is creative. It assumes arrival. It walks as though the path is already prepared. And life responds to that assumption by opening doors at the right moment. When you continue forward, you are making a declaration without words. I trust what I have set in motion. That declaration is heard not by others, but by the deeper mechanisms that shape experience. They respond to alignment, not anxiety. They respond to direction, not desperation. So keep moving, not because you are afraid to stop, but because movement feels natural and belief is real. Each step confirms the decision. Each step strengthens the state. And eventually, what you trusted internally becomes undeniable externally, not because you waited for proof, but because you moved as though proof was inevitable. Doubt does not need to be fought, argued with, or analyzed. It needs to be silenced, and the only thing that truly silences doubt is assumption. Doubt survives on attention. The more you wrestle with it, the more real it feels. Assumption, on the other hand, does not engage in debate. It quietly takes its place as truth and allows everything else to fall away. What you consistently assume to be true must express itself, not because of effort, but because consciousness cannot remain divided forever. An assumption is not a hopeful thought or a positive statement repeated out of fear. It is an inner position you occupy. When you assume something, you stop asking whether it will happen. You relate to it as fact. This shift is subtle but decisive. The mind no longer scans for evidence, it interprets everything through the lens of fulfillment. Doubt loses power not because it disappears instantly, but because it no longer defines your center. Most people attempt to silence doubt with logic, affirmations, or emotional intensity. These methods often fail because they still imply uncertainty. They suggest that something needs to be proven. Assumption requires no proof. It rests, it settles, it behaves as though the matter is closed. When you adopt an assumption consistently, doubt becomes irrelevant. Like background noise you no longer respond to. Consistency is the key. A single assumption made once has little impact. A state returned to again and again becomes dominant. Each time you choose the assumption over the doubt, you strengthen it. You are training your inner world to recognize one truth as primary. Over time, the assumption feels natural and doubt feels foreign. This is not suppression, it is replacement. Assumption also changes how you interpret challenges. Instead of seeing obstacles as signs of failure, you view them as adjustments. Instead of questioning your path, you expect resolution. This expectation is powerful because it removes emotional resistance. Resistance slows expression. Acceptance accelerates it. When you assume the end is secure, you stop tightening around outcomes and allow events to unfold. LD. Silencing doubt with assumption does not mean you never have negative thoughts. It means negative thoughts no longer hold authority. They may pass through your awareness, but they do not dictate your state. You do not follow them. You do not build stories around them. You return to the assumption that has already been chosen. This return is what shapes reality. What you assume consistently becomes familiar, and what is familiar becomes believable. Belief then informs behavior, reactions, and decisions without conscious effort. This is how the inner world translates itself into form. Life reflects not what you occasionally think, but what you habitually assume. The outer world is always listening to your inner agreement. It responds to the dominant state, not the fleeting emotion. When assumption becomes dominant, expression is inevitable. Circumstances align, People respond, and opportunities appear in ways that feel natural rather than forced. You do not experience it as magic, you experience it as confirmation. Silence doubt by refusing to entertain it as truth. You do this not through struggle, but through loyalty to your assumption. Return to it calmly. Stand in it quietly. Let it define you. In time, doubt fades, not because it was defeated, but because it was no longer needed. What you consistently assume to be true will express itself, because life has no choice but to agree with the state you live from. Consistency is faith made visible. It is not loud, dramatic, or emotionally charged. It does not announce itself or demand recognition. It simply continues. Persistence without anxiety is the clearest language of certainty, because it proves that you are no longer trying to convince yourself or the world. You already know, and what you know does not require urgency. Most people confuse faith with intensity. They believe that strong emotions, constant AF, affirmations, or repeated effort are signs of belief. In reality, anxiety often hides inside those behaviors. Anxiety rushes, anxiety checks, anxiety asks, is this working? Certainty does none of these things. Certainty moves steadily, without emotional spikes, because it trusts the direction even when the destination is not yet visible. Consistency means returning to the same inner position again and again, not out of fear, but out of familiarity. When something is true for you, you do not need to remind yourself forcefully. You naturally think, act, and choose from it. Persistence becomes effortless because it is aligned with identity. You persist in what you believe you are, not in what you are trying to become. Faith in action does not look like struggle. It looks like showing up without resistance. It looks like making decisions that align with your assumption even when no one is watching and no immediate reward appears. This kind of consistency is powerful because it is invisible to doubt. Doubt feeds on inconsistency. When you stop wavering, doubt has nothing to attach itself to. Anxiety appears when there are multiple inner positions competing for control. One part of you believes, another part waits for proof. Consistency resolves this conflict. By choosing the same state repeatedly, you unify your inner world. When the inner world is unified, the outer world follows more smoothly. Resistance dissolves and timing becomes natural. Persistence without anxiety also changes how you experience time. You stop measuring progress obsessively. You stop comparing today with yesterday. You trust that movement is happening even when it is not obvious. This trust frees mental energy. Instead of worrying about outcomes, you live your life fully in the present, confident that what is unfolding does not require supervision. Consistency does not mean rigidity, it does mean forcing yourself to feel a certain way every moment. It means returning to your chosen assumption gently whenever you notice you've drifted. This return is calm, not corrective. You are not fixing a mistake, you are reaffirming a truth. The less emotional weight you place on this process, the more stable it becomes. Over time, consistency reshapes your self-concept. You begin to see yourself as someone who finishes, who follows through, who trusts their own decisions. This self-image reinforces the state you are living from. Faith stops being something you practice and becomes something you are. Life responds to this kind of faith because it is coherent. There is no mixed signal. Your thoughts, feelings, and actions point in the same direction. That coherence is creative. It produces results not through force, but through alignment. Persistence without anxiety is quiet power. It does not beg. It does not rush. It does not retreat. It simply continues, grounded in the certainty that what has been decided internally must eventually appear externally. And because you are no longer trying to make it happen, you allow it to happen. That allowance is the final confirmation of faith in action. You have come to the end of this message, but not to the end of the journey. Everything shared here points to one simple truth. The victory was decided within you long before the world could show it. You did not arrive here by chance. You arrived because something in you recognized itself. The decision has been made, the past has lost its authority, and the direction is clear. From here, your role is no longer to question, rush, or look for signs. Your role is to remain loyal to the state you have chosen. Live from the end. Keep moving forward. Allow assumption to quiet every doubt, and let consistency become your natural way of being. What you persist in calmly, without anxiety, must take form. Life has no alternative but to agree with the version of you that no longer wavers. You do not move forward to become someone new. You move forward because you already are. The path unfolds as you walk it. Trust the process not with effort, but with steadiness. Every step taken in certainty strengthens what is already in motion. Nothing behind you holds power anymore. Everything ahead is responding. So keep going, not because you are chasing something, but because you are aligned with what is already done. Walk in quiet confidence. Let your movement speak. Let your calm confirm your faith. The unfolding is inevitable. Thank